Hi there, people. This is Chili from Live Listen Erased, and this is a new podcast called 5 Minute Reviews, and it's based on all the new albums that are released and my reviews in 5 minutes or less. Just a quick nod to all the fans of Live Listen Erased. We haven't stopped. We will continue, and we're working on getting a new episode out as soon as possible. Stay tuned for further updates in regards to that. For the first episode, I will be going into the album Fortitude by Gojira. This is a band that nearly got away from me due to their extreme guitar sounds. Now, I love metal, but even when I was listening to it, I thought they sound like circular saws going off. And I did persevere. Eventually I got my hands on Magma, the album, and it was an incredible album. It has some great tracks there, and of course I went out and heard some of their other stuff. For this album, the opener is Born for One Thing. This is a great opener track, even dipping into a bit of Slayer-ish riffs. It's almost like it's a nod to them. It's a great song overall, fantastic. It's heavy, it's brutal at times. Even the outro slows it right down, bringing it down, and it just sounds fantastic. The follow-up track is Amazonia, and this continues the lyrical themes on previous albums of Gojira, where it talks about the environment, in particular the Amazon fires, and the drumming is on point. It's very tight on this track, and it also has Brazilian instruments brought in, which gives it a kind of Sepultura feel, and the riffs are just incredible, just chugging away. It almost sounds like a Sepultura song, to be honest, at times, but it is, of course, Gojira at one of their finest. The next track, again, is Another World. This is the first single that was released in relation to this album, and it is an incredible song. It's got great vocals, showing off their new writing style. It was a perfect single to be released to show off their new style that they were going to bring in with this album. Hold On is the next track, which has parts that do sound like the old Gojira sound, but it also meets that new Gojira sound. You know, the circular saw sounds. It's a great song. Overall, not incredible, but not bad either. Newfound is the follow-up song, and it opens just like a Van Halen song would. Other than that, there's nothing else to Van Halen, of course. It has a solid sound, very pounding drums and riffs. This would be a great track to see performed live, especially at the later part of it when it just slows down and they're just breaking it down. You know, it's like the crashing of waves almost just coming at you and coming at you again. This would be a great track to hear live. The next two tracks, I'll include them as one, Fortitude and The Chant. Fortitude is just a musical interlude and kind of like the halfway point, but when you listen to these tracks one after the other, they serve as the mood to be set before The Chant. And when I heard The Chant as their last single before they released the album, I was very dismissive of it. I didn't like it. I thought this was going to be the last track on the album and didn't really care. But when I heard it on the album with Fortitude before it, I can see how the track works. And I can see when it's performed live, how the crowd will be singing this part, how they'll be singing The Chant. So this will be an incredible song to be hearing live, and I can't wait. The next track is Sphinx, and it brings in that circular saw guitar sound that we all know, and it makes Gojira famous. It's an overall solid track. It's got its deep riffs, it's crunching, it's there. It's overall, it's a pretty good track. The next track is Into the Storm, and this is an intense intro. You know, the guitars are just very quick. The drumming time signature is very weird and a bit off-kilter. It's a bit off-putting at times. You know, and then it's followed up by this relentless riff. It's brutal. It's a great track. It showcases the incredible drumming techniques, and overall one of the best tracks on this album. The next track is The Trails, and this is probably the weakest track on the album in my opinion, but it's due to a slower tempo and a style change in comparison to the rest of the album. The last track is Grind, and if you thought Into the Storm was relentless, this is easily the heaviest track, and it's saved for the last track. It is just brutal. Right from the start, it's like knee onto your throat. It just doesn't give you time to breathe, and many Gojira fans will love this. They'll be foaming at the mouth for it. The tone on the bass is amazing, and as the song winds down towards the outro, it's just, it's an incredible track. Overall, this is a very solid performance by the boys at Gojira, who have never made really a bad album in my opinion. Some of the tracks have sounds like other bands, like Born for One Thing, which sounds a bit Slayerish, Amazonia, which sounds like Sepultura, and Newfound, which sounds with that Van Halen intro. These are probably just small nods to other inspirations. The album might be a bit softer compared to their other stuff, but this is a more accessible album. It's also a good starting point if you want to get into Gojira and check them out. I give this about an 8.5 out of 10, with the best tracks being Born for One Thing, Amazonia, Another World, Into the Storm, and Grind. Check it out.